Maybe some white butterflies are there.
You got one.
You got one?
I put it on the.
Oh. And, you know, I always wanted to come up in this area, but never did. Never did. And I just knew after we got the book through, that was like, came out last year, came out in 2023. And I knew that I had to come here because in the book, a lot of the students were interviewed. And John will show you, will have parts of the book where I read and I talk about, what they said. And it's in the book. But, so I came here and I wanted to see the high school. I've never seen the high school. And when I saw the high school, it was huge. It was a big high school. And it was kind of a bit impressive, but to me, I knew what had happened. I knew a lot about what the school had done. So when we get into that part, I will talk about that. And as we all know here, there was this person that took little Joan's life. Joan's birthday was just September 7th, and that was just on Sunday. And it was her last birthday. See? And she got the missing article. And the way she told me, you could see that she was a little girl thinking, I want to be like this. So there's Joan. And then the last, here, Joan. The last, see, we had bought this. We had gone to, Pennsylvania area. Let me see. Went to the 18, just to see the 18. And what happened was, so we went there. That was her last vacation, and she bought this little calendar. You didn't get it now. You didn't. 18.
18?
Yeah. So every day she would change the day. She was very meticulous with it. So the last day she did was 18. What did she know? What do we know? Next day, in your life. So you see how life is. And how life was even more so then that what happened to Joan wasn't really out there. Okay? It wasn't really talked about. It just wasn't, people weren't thinking this way. Life was more innocent. But this shows Joan, and it was on her desk. So now I keep it on here on my desk. And we always keep it to the 18. So I'll leave it here. You could look at it, you could, touch it, whatever way. Now this, what I have is a ring. I have it on my necklace. There's a ring. That's one of the rings. Very important to her. With rings. Very important. She loves her little rings. She was like, she was a good balance. She had a feminine part, she had an athletic part, she had a spiffy part, and she had a very calm. So now, the white butterfly, do you see a white butterfly, right? Just know, you're going to know that she's coming to you. Because it's going to be at a time when it's going to be a happy time. It might be a time that you feel alone. It might be a time that you feel sad. But it will be something. Denise, there are places here in the front. And Denise is from Jones Joy too. Good to see Jones Joy.
Thank you.
So, anyway, I just want you to get a little feel of where we are. Michael and John were born after John died. I had a miscarriage 5 years after John died. And then 2 years later, Michael was born. And 2 years later, John was born. Okay? And John is named after his sister. So, let's go. Go here. There's a whole bunch of us. It's really good. We have to see you all. Thank you for coming. And we will continue the story together. Share it. Share the story. Just, if you have any ways that you could help me to share it, like even say on media, on television, whatever way. Okay? Just this morning, we just came back from the weekend vacation because we went to celebrate. It was his 60th birthday on Sunday. So we went to celebrate. And we had some friends over too. And one of them lives up in that area. This was Monticello. And so we celebrated. We really celebrated. And we showed videos of some of the young people from around the world that make videos and collages of her. And they're usually teenagers. So we showed that as part of the celebration. Okay, very, very, very wonderful to see. You see this little girl just doing so much in this world, and it will continue. It won't stop. I know it'll continue even after all of us are in another place. Okay? I know it. Because it's so constant and so much more alive. And then today, as I was saying, I did hear, this is, we had that from one of the fests. Just this morning, somebody asked me, on behalf of Jones Joy, to speak at Seasons, okay? And then just this morning, on the other thing, a new friend and volunteer was coming, and there's a story there, but he's in the hospital. He could use prayers. His heart was going so fast. It was an emergency. So you get that, you get the other, and then there was something else. Oh, someone who lost a child September 8th, more natural, a little older. On September 7th, she always puts balloons, and she lives in Pennsylvania. So she makes balloons go up in the air for Joan and for her son. Her son is born September 8th. So we got that. And then here we are, all of us together. And now we're going to go into the story. We will have some questions. I will have books if you like to get them. I could sign them. Once I have the room, they have the room available, I guess they will. John, there's no mic here. There wasn't a mic?
No, I guess not.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All right.
You want me to go ask her from?
I don't know what's going on with the bill.
Well, I'm not going to force my voice,
Yeah, only some people in the back might have a little trouble here, but just stay quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry if you do. We have one seat here, but I'm not going to push it, I do work with neuromuscular autoimmune since I was young, since my 20s, so my voice could be low, but it's a good voice. It's a good voice.
Thank you. Okay, Tappan Library for hosting us today. Here's the cover of the book. go over briefly the sections. There's dedication at the beginning. Then the acknowledgements. The acknowledgements read like a story themselves. There's a lot of people throughout the 50 some odd years that are acknowledged. Then we have the law changes inspired by Joan's legacy. Then we have index of significant letters. So this gives you an idea of some of the letters that have the most important information, or the most insights into the killer, or the most action was going on with the foundation. This is my mother's poem, which encapsulates a lot of her way of dealing with things. It was during an anniversary time in 2021. Then we go to the prologue. Prologue has a lot to it.
The prologue is like a mystery, like a thriller.
Sets everything up.
It's a thriller. You'll see things that you never would expect to hear and see, you know? So the prologue is like that.
Then we go to the letters.
Here they are. Yep.
That's an example of one. We'll go back to that.
The reason why I did the book. 332 letters are given to me by the son of the pen pal that he was writing to for 34 years. And get all these letters. So after he died, then I could do something with them. And decided to put them in the book, which is very, very big and sometimes overwhelming for many people. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working on a smaller book which will have all my words that are in it, the same, but it will have less letters. It'll have 280 less letters. But then there's a reference. You could go to the big book and see all the letters if you're interested. So a small book will be like more accessible to the common man. Okay, we're not going to all be like you. You know, they're going to say, "Oh, I'll look at it. It's too big. I don't want to bother." You know, that kind of thing. Okay. And you'll see how his writing changes. Yeah.
So we have a photo section.
Yeah.
Which is how many photos? 40?
I think 46.
46 photos.
I had.
We go through there's photos from my mother's life throughout the present.
I had children, like Joan was just born, and I had a 1-year-old and I had a 2-year-old. See, so they're like triplets. Yeah.
Then we have the epilogue, and there's also about the author. So we go back to the letters. The letters are the reason the book started. Right, man?
John, excuse me, John, is this her? She works?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, John, what?
The letters are the reason for the book.
The letters, yeah, the letters started the book, you know? I wasn't really thinking of the book. I mean, I never was an author, you know? But I do like to communicate, like to engage with people. Yeah.
You want to share them?
But I wasn't afraid to write. Wasn't afraid. You know, whatever was going to be, whatever I was going to say, you know, I felt like comfortable with it. You know, I wasn't trying to be this author that, you know, is famous. No, nothing like that. You know, just, no, I was going to be Rosemarie, writing the book. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he never thought they were going to be public. So, like we said, these were given by the pen pal's son after his mother passed away, who was she, I guess, heard about him through church, and they wrote together for many years until her death. And through the letters, you learn a lot about her, which is another bag. So we're going to play a clip of
Number
one.
43, Bergen County Sheriff's Office Jail Division, Hackensack, New Jersey. Date, April 26, 1974. Hi, Sue. You know, a lot of people agree with you. I have met several fellows in here who got arrested because they wanted to be back inside. They found that life on the outside was too tough for them, so they commit a petty crime and make sure that they're caught. There were times before this situation that I felt like running away and hide, but at least on the outside, you can think about getting away. I know that if and when I ever get out, I'm never going to give reason to brought back. No matter whatever happens, I never want to make this a way of life. I know it will be a long time before I face this, but I know myself well enough now to be sure. The newspapers are at their usual level of accuracy. It seems that according to both the Daily News and Hudson Dispatch, I've been transferred to the annex several months ago. I guess that it's my spirit that you've been writing to and has been answering your letters here at the main jail. In fact, one paper couldn't even get my name right. I had to learn the hard way that the only thing that counts is to fill a column. If you don't have the facts, invent a few. Most people don't know the true story, and you can get away with it. I don't mean to sound bitter. I'm more disgusted than anything else. Well, no matter what happens, one of the good things that came out of this has been your letters and making your friendship. I thank you. God bless. Joe. This letter reveals a lot about some of his thoughts, and it's rare to get this amount of openness from him. The letter was written on April 26,
This is my
1974,
comment. This is my
and it was
comment.
exactly a year ago on this date that Joan was buried. When he uses the word "this" in his letter, he is referring to being in jail for murdering my little girl. It is obvious to me that he looks at his circumstances as a tragedy that happened to him, because he tells Sue that one of the good things came out of this is her friendship. Number 4.
So you see, that was my comment. So the way it's set up, you have a letter, and then you do a summary in case, some people want to take it a little bit gently. There's a summary, and you can read a letter when you want. You read a letter then. And then comment, and then depending upon if there was something in my life that was going on, I would write a parallel to what he was doing in prison. Like my life was this way, his life was that way. So that is the system of the way the book is developed, is written.
Yeah. And with the letters, it's like it's the first person, so you got to sort of, it's not as obvious sometimes, like he's not going to, you got to read through them to sort of figure out from your own sort of research, going through these letters, you'll sort of get an idea who he was, maybe get insights, what kind of darkness he really had, and you got to, it's all, it's sort of a mystery. Some parts are a little vague, but as you get through the letters, you'll sort of learn a lot about what kind of mind, what kind of darkness does this.
Because remember, throughout the letters, throughout the whole time, from 73, there was never an ounce of anything. No remorse, not even a polite note. I never got anything. So, like, Joan was not acknowledged. I was not acknowledged. My family was not acknowledged. The community was not acknowledged. Nothing. So, he was living like that never happened. And that's the way he writes it. And his mother, the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. No card. No, nothing. In fact, the mother said she hated me because it was my fault that happened. But But that's what evil does. The worst of evil. I mean, more evil than that, no? That's what it does. It does a person's mind. And it's like really, really different. It's very, very so dark that you don't even have a little light like this. So the mother was doing bad things. And he was always like sweet. Oh, he was so sweet, he's so kind, he was so good. And that's the way he'd portray himself even with the teacher. You see? And he just had this way. When my children used to pass on the bicycles, the three of them, he would be so nice to them. Oh, hello, what are you doing? And my middle child, who was more quiet, she'd come home. Oh, there's the neighbor down there. When we're on our bikes, when we pass, he's so nice. So nice. So nice. I never heard her speak like that before about anybody. You see? So he had that charm, that way, and this way. And meanwhile, he does what he does, and he's perfect. He doesn't do anything wrong. So therefore, why is he ever going to have contrition, right? Why is he ever going to, really, really be sorry? I mean, he's perfect. He's a perfect human being. Yeah, these people that are very, real dark. A lot of them think that way. But him, he's like one of the darkest you could get in the world. And so that's the way it was. Yeah. So, and then I have to tell you while I'm on that, but then, go back on, the school. Guess what the school did?
Yeah, the school.
Guess what the school did? I didn't get anything from them. Nothing. Nothing. Not even a card. Not even a card. And, say, I remember, we had events. We had galas. We had yard sales going from 2007. And I remember calling the school, and they wouldn't even answer me. They wouldn't even answer me. Okay? So then I tried about 4 times, and then I did get them answer me, and told them about it, but not one showed support from the school. So I thought that was, I mean, what kind of people are these people that they're just so interested in just their own focus? So that's something then I really talk about in the book. Okay. And John is going to start with that. Yeah.
Comments. He was the shrewdest person. He was able to show himself in different ways to get what he wanted. He knows exactly how to act with those he sees as a threat to not displease him. When he was a teacher, he was a master schemer. He could fool the teachers and administration to make them think he's a certain way by using flattery and other methods. Yet with the kids, he felt a power over them, and his behavior was so different. Many of his former students have shared their experiences with me personally and on social media. One former student came to visit me a few years ago at my house and told me something that she finally was able to get off her chest after all these years. She thinks that she was the last student to see him before he murdered Joan. She was the only student making up a test after school on the day Joan was killed. She said he was standing right in front of her desk while she was taking the test. She asked him why he was staying so close, and he told her that he had to make sure she wasn't cheating. She told me that she often wondered if her interaction with him contributed to his built-up anger, which he took out on Joan when she came to his house later that afternoon.
But it wasn't that. No.
Another former
But
student had a different experience.
This is the
with
way
him.
in her
She
life.
never was
but
uncomfortable
That's
or
what she
afraid of
did.
him.
She was,
Instead, she
thought
respected
it
him
was a
and
little bit
looked at him
her
as a
fault.
mentor because she planned to pursue a career in science. However, when she heard a news story that a school teacher was arrested for the murder of a 7-year-old Girl Scout on the news, she knew right away who the murderer was, her teacher. Her parents were shocked when she was proven right by a subsequent news story. She must have sensed something about him. When she arrived at school after break, not one word was said about what took place by any of the teachers or guidance counselors. There was just a fill-in teacher who took over the class. For her, the silence was almost harder than hearing about the crime itself. She gave up her ambition to work in the field of science after that, and she thinks it was because she was so disheartened by what occurred. She never talked about it with anyone until 1993 at a high school reunion event. A few students told me about the silence and lack of support from the school following the murder. There was no assembly or counseling made available to them. Not even an announcement was made about what happened. One former student said that Jones' killer was a brown-noser and was able to develop close relationships with the principal and office staff. And that was the reason no one came forward to report his behavior. Her feeling was that afterward, the administration was fearful to admit anything because they didn't want to be held liable. Just imagine these kids going back to school after hearing this terrible, shocking news, and how scary it must have been for them. He was their teacher, or they knew of him, or they were probably thinking that they could have been his victim instead of Joan. They couldn't talk about their fears, sadness, and confusion when they went back to school. I believe the unspoken message from the administration was to act like it never happened. How is that going to help them deal with this trauma? Nobody was considering the students' best interests. I think that it is so deplorable they were in their formative years, and this is the way they were treated. I am thankful the former students came out and shared what they went through, helping themselves and helping others by bringing the truth out. I'm also thankful to the mother of a student who shared her truth when she called me several years ago. Her daughter was a cheerleader at the school when Joe's killer was a teacher there. She told me that she had received a phone call at that time from an anonymous man who said that he had her daughter held hostage and described exactly what she was wearing. She went to the school to look for her and found out that her daughter was there the entire time and nothing had happened to her. After this experience, she was so scared that she bought a gun and kept it near the front door so she could protect her daughter.
And there's more stories. That's just a small snapshot of them.
There's even a story about someone that's here today and has helped helped us to get students' responses. Mavis, would you like to tell your story?
Oh. Okay. I wasn't, yeah. And I was a student at Tappan High School. In 1973, I was a freshman. And in February of that year, the scheduling, the registration process signed me up for his chemistry class, which I shouldn't have been in as a freshman. So I went to the office to tell them this is incorrect, and they told me, you have to go with this paper and have him sign it. That annoys me at this date because they had inter-office mail. They could have just put it in his mailbox. But they sent me to him, and I remember going into the Judy also went to TZ. He was in the science labs, and his office was between the two classrooms. And it was actually just a closet, no windows, just a closet where they stuck their desks. And I remember going to the doorway and thinking, I'm not going in there with him. In there. I just, the vibe from him. So he came to the doorway and stood over me. And he really sensed my discomfort. And looking back, I realized he enjoyed that discomfort. I remember him looking down at me. So this was February of '73, just a few weeks before Joan was taken. And I didn't realize it then, but that was a predatory look. That was him looking at a 14-year-old girl with a predatory look. And then the office sent me back again with another paper for him to sign, and I recall taking a group of my friends with me this time to go back. And even when we went in as a group, I remember my friends wouldn't come forward. They kept backing away. So we all sensed something in him. We'd never have said, oh, he would eventually go on to murder somebody, but there was just something there, predatory in him. And as a 14-year-old, I didn't recognize what it was at that time.
Thank you, Mavis. I hope that wasn't too hard to say,
No,
but I
no.
think everybody, will not forget.
Yeah.
Could I add to that a little bit?
Sure.
I was a student, I was a sophomore that year.
Oh, okay.
And I did not know him, he was not my teacher. He would not have been my teacher because he didn't teach Regents chemistry. That was the track I was on. But I remember him because my locker was in the main hallway. And a lot of the teachers would come walking down the main hallway at passing time. He was very tall, and he had beady eyes, right? Beady eyes. Creepy, but I didn't know him. But what I wanted to say when I came here was that I too am appalled at how the school handled it. I mean, if you think about what life is like today, there would have been crisis teams and all kinds of counseling. There was nothing, nobody said anything. We had to read it in the paper. It's like, oh my God, Mr. McGowan, And it was just such a horrible thing that just got sort of swept under the rug. And it's horrific that that was done.
And that,
Still haunted by it.
and that was because of the leadership of the school. It was the school
They made choices.
that didn't have, like, General Assembly when you came back after Easter and put you together and, and show compassion. There was no compassion at all for the kids. They were just so self-centered for themselves.
Well, not only was it nothing was done, but we were literally told to shut up. There were kids talking about it, and I recall students being yelled at for talking about it. They didn't know how to handle it, but even
Who didn't know how to handle it?
the administration back then in '73, I don't think they knew, but even they didn't.
No, I
handle
know a
it.
lot, Mavis.
Yeah,
Mavis, it's not as innocent as that.
I'm sorry.
It's not as innocent as that.
No, I know
No, it's
that.
not.
I
It's
know more of the story,
Yeah.
but even as a 14-year-old, I
Mhm.
knew that that wasn't the way to handle it, even if they didn't have the background to have an assembly.
What was going on was just like about a month ago, someone came over to visit, and he used to work for the Attorney General's office. And then he got involved in helping with the parole board. And he found out about the perpetrator going out with this kid, okay? And nothing was said about it in the school, but the person that came to visit told me about this, told us about this. He knew, he said that it was written in the school. They had it all written, the information, but they did nothing. So I believe that if we, I don't know if it's right, it's not, but in there's a lot that's written that they knew, but they never told the mothers. They never showed care with you because they were pretending they didn't know. And meanwhile, another person came about like a couple of years ago. and she was one of the students at the high school. And she was saying that her father owned this place, this restaurant, and a lot of the teachers would go there together, okay? They would go there, and he would go too. So, you know, he really knew her, because she was there helping out with her father and stuff. And she saw, did she get a ride with him, John?
Yeah, once.
Once. She even got a ride with him, okay? Meanwhile, he's trying to get friendly with her, and meanwhile, that, thank God that didn't work, you know? But she said that he was like, how do you say it? They say it, John. Like,
He knew how to get friendly with all the other teachers, administration, principal and such. He was, you know, what you said in the book, brown noser, or something like that. It was inconsistent with that.
but he always was there showing that he's a nice guy,
Yeah, very
Always being
submissive with the
a nice guy.
principal.
Manipulative.
Yeah, and then guess what he did? He was very good friends with the principal,
Yeah.
right? And the principal would invite him over.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd go over, yeah, they would do that. What do you do today? I don't know. Who does that, go into a
Well,
principal?
the thing is, they never,
And this is what they did.
and they never investigated the claims against him, maybe because of these friendships.
That's what the big thing was. That's what it was. I mean, Joan wouldn't have been alive if that wasn't done.
They
I think
investigated.
they knew about it. I think they knew more.
They
He
knew a
was
lot.
the only teacher
Yes.
that had a co-teacher with him. You know, he wasn't a student teacher, he was a regular teacher. He was the only teacher. Do you recall anyone else?
No.
He was, and I asked in the social media group with teachers in it, and I asked his co-teacher, why was there a co-teaching situation going on?
Yeah, and
Nobody would answer.
so maybe they were doing that because they knew something was
They were wary of it.
weird.
They were wary of it.
Yeah.
He wasn't permitted to go on a trip right before this happened. That was the trip that they spoke about.
Oh, he was left out of and
That
caused
wasn't a teacher's trip, that was a school trip.
Spanish trip?
Yes,
I was
put
on
it
it.
on that,
I was
yes.
on it.
It was?
Yes, it was.
that supposedly was the cause of his, a
Yep.
lot
Oh,
of
he was,
depression.
so
So they prevented him from being a chaperone.
so they really
They
knew.
knew.
They really knew by that time.
Yeah.
Did you know, did either of you have niece? Did you either know other victims while you were in school?
No.
No.
We were younger, we were 2 years younger than the students.
I understand.
So, we know now from being
From
told
that,
he
yeah.
was inappropriate in the
Yes.
classroom.
My sister mentioned he was inappropriate with her. At one
Wasn't
point,
he?
he wanted her to stay back after class,
Yeah.
and she just had no rhyme or reason, but she said, no, I gotta go.
Yeah,
So he
good.
emanated a weird vibe,
Sure, sure.
and there was no, there was nothing said, but it's just,
Yeah, no,
there's
there's something.
there's sixth sense that you had on that session.
And the school continued to protect him in spite of the fact that they knew something was up with him.
They may have been working on something, we don't know.
Yeah.
The fact that they stopped him from going on that trip doesn't show.
The red flag.
So it wasn't with the teachers. It
Oh,
was,
yeah, it was understood.
see that? So it was Spanish
It was a
class,
Spanish, Spanish club.
a club. So they,
Anybody could go.
so therefore, they knew, well, these parents are coming out to them, you know. And I know, Paul, you had a question?
No, I just wanted to say that I was not in Tappan High School at the time, but when I got there, you have to understand this evil was in the bedrock. You could feel it. That school was totally out of control. We had more bomb scares than any high school in the nation. We made the front page of the New York Times.
Okay.
Some of the teachers were just ridiculous. They would play a movie and read the Times when they should have been teaching us. I remember going down to science hall into a room and had all these books that were content-rich. History of the Byzantine Empire, Empire, none of that was ever given to us. What we received was a junk education, and that school was totally out of control. There was all this unscheduled time, kids were smoking pot out on the concourse and looking across the mountain and doing. This is the bedrock of this tragedy, is that it was bad news, the whole kit and caboodle. I knew it when I was there. I was not getting a quality education. The teachers didn't care. It was 100% dead. There's a bedrock in that, at that time, in that place, from which this evil sprang.
You know, this is all new
Some of
to
the-
us.
Yeah.
And you said they call it Tappan Zoo?
I call it Tappan. It was totally out of control.
I wouldn't, would you agree with that?
By the time I was there,
What year were you there?
I graduated in 78. I guess I entered in 74.
I wouldn't agree.
My mother used to give me money to go into New York City rather than sit out in the cold. And I go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They called my mother, I think, about the time I missed, and she was sure. She said, I'm trying to run a 96-bed nursing home. You have 2 assistant principals in that place. Don't ever bother me again. You could feel, and yet I have to say there were wonderful teachers there, like my Spanish teacher. My senior year, they were starting to get control. They got a new, his name,
Italian?
Gillen was his name.
Gillen.
He became superintendent of schools, and he started trying to make it more content rich. He used to
Really?
adapt to the curriculum, but that place.
Gillen? And who was it before, the superintendent before?
I can't remember.
You remember? And at that time, they had the modular program?
Yeah, it was totally out of
Modular.
control.
So that's what you saw started something different? The
Yeah.
modular gave a lot
They
of,
scrapped
like a lot of free time to the kids?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, excuse me,
We
John?
gotta move on to the, sorry.
Well, you know, John, yeah, I just want to say something that, you know, there were so many people that came to me with stories. And the one that was so terrible was when these kids, the parents were getting calls, and they were it was stalking. They were stalking the
Yeah.
parents. And then, but they knew it was him. They knew, but they couldn't prove it.
Yeah.
They couldn't prove it. And they went to the school, and they went to the school, and everyone went, and each one they told a story. And they said, and they had to write this down. And they didn't look into it. They didn't look into it, because remember, also, this was 73, right? And things were hidden. They're hidden now. And that's the worst thing you could do to get change and to get prevention and to get protection. I mean, you see what's hidden, like in different ways. In other areas, like what we see, the way the world, you know, and not the truth. So that goes on all the time. But I gotta tell you, those parents, I literally heard them cry, so scared. Nobody listened to us. There was nobody. And they knew. They knew. So what did they do? When Joan died, right? And I'm not saying it's everybody in the system, okay? But it's those that have a lot of leadership. What do? They're going to say they're sorry. They're going to say something. No, you stay away from it. You stay away from it, you know? Just like the Girl Scouts did. Same thing. So, you know, I see it like in different areas. But the thing is, we have to say the way it is, you know? First time I did it was in the book. I saw, you know, Mavis had gotten a lot of the stories, with people coming out. They started calling me, and they told me that they hadn't said anything to not even their parents of how they felt, because they thought they weren't supposed to talk about it any time. Because the school said, no, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. You don't talk about it. So they got the mindset, you don't talk about it. So that's the way they lived. They come to me for the first time, telling me for the first time. And this was like 30 years. And then they said, another one said, 20 years I told somebody, after 20 years. I told someone. Now, I have spoken to people on the phone, and they were going to come to the events and this and that, but they're still scared. They're still scared. And they were going to do this and that. They're still, so I wish that, just talk about whatever your experiences are, whatever you saw, even if you have different thoughts about, different experiences, different ways of thinking, talk about it. You might be talking to some of these people that need to come out. They spoke to me. It looked like they were going to come to the event. They know about this. The same people. The emails. Emails like 3 pages. No, they're not here. They're not here. So they think it's not in their heads. They block it out. They detach. But this took such a hold of them because they weren't regarded when it happened. They weren't regarded. They weren't giving any kind of how are their feelings. These are children. Mavis went through it. You went through it. You went through it. You went. And that's the part. That's the part. That's the part. That's the part that I think is terrible. What was done to the children when they went back. Don't talk about it. Could you imagine? A few days later, she died on Holy Thursday. Don't you talk about it. We will ignore you, we will yell at you. And then in their heads, they think that's what you're supposed to do during, as you're growing up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, of course, if everything is in the open, that's the way we do prevention and protection of other people. So that's why we have Joan's Joy for protection and prevention. That's my biggest thing, okay, even in the book. Okay, that's why you have laws. That's why we do this. But we really have to, each one of us, as much as you can, even if it's a little, is like, and now, we do Joan's Joy, Joan's memory, and Joan's life meaning something to help people. And she would go for that. Is, no, we can't stay back because we're so afraid of losing our face, how we're going to be thought of, how we're going to be judged, or else, I'm not going to make all the money that I can make. Everybody knows the right thing to do. So that I finish with. And if you have more questions, you could always, talk to me after emails, because like John said, we have to keep going.
So out of this atmosphere and out of the silence that case was under until 1993, when surprisingly the killer came up for parole, and that's a big turning point in the book, and there is a lot about that on the midway part of the book. And here to go to some pictures. This is a rally in 1998. So out of that, the no parole fight began in 93, but there were appeals. The hearing had to be redone. And this was a famous talk my mother made here at the Hackensack Courthouse about that the judges had to hear from the people that we don't want these killers out. And that's a big part of the book. You'll see he's writing about his hope, his legal maneuvers, everything he's doing again out of prison that we never knew about. It really was a fight against him directly, because you could see all that he's doing by the letters and the court cases, and then again there's the parallel how my mother is dealing with this news that he's getting a new hearing. The Trentino case moved the bar for what had to be done, and it was very scary.
And that,
But for him, it's helpful, hopeful.
but one good thing happened. All the young students, right, that are feeling alone and scared because of this grassroots movement that started, and we were going to fight to keep them in, they started to open up for the first time and talk about it. Meanwhile, 20 years, and this happened to a lot of them, 20 years, they're quiet because they were scared to talk. This started making them, yeah. That's how they started talking. That was a big thing, John.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot of people still come to this day who were involved in the search and such. And out of that came the Jones Law, and this is the signing here in 1997. And that was the first part of the first biggest landmark legislation. And if you see in the handout we gave there, all the other laws that help the victims. And then out of the law movement, when the laws were passed, like you were saying, started the foundation. And of course, all that's in the book too. And here's one of our fundraisers. And that's where we meet a lot of people who are experienced too, or a lot of times victims will come up with their mother and and they'll feel comfortable to share their experiences, who are maybe they volunteered, and then they want to talk.
And then at that time, that's when Michael and John
That's when we got involved, maybe around
Started.
2000, when I was 18.
started to get involved.
Yeah. Before that,
And they had mixed feelings.
yeah, it's a lot of work. The yard sales, a lot of work.
I don't know if I want to do it.
We have 13 yard sales,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
and 10 dinner parties.
No, four dinner parties, 17 yard sales.
4 dinner parties?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 with the Elks.
And so they,
I don't know.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. Oh, well, come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's
And out of
go.
that came a lot of then helping the children at the YCS and the Father English Center, and helping these teams and young people who are at risk, dealing with a lot of challenges, and we provided them a lot of vacations. And out of that came the child safety awareness. We can go into that.
And
But
that,
that's the work of the foundation.
and then Michael and John, you know, they continued, especially John and Michael. Michael was always at every event, really, and treasurer of the foundation. And John became vice president, operations. Because they wanted to be part of the family. You see, because our family would happen with everything. You'll see.
Well, that's
Everybody
a big
went
part-
away.
That's a
Everybody.
big part of the book.
Everybody went away, you know. So we was only 3 that were left. See? So, and John would say, but I want to be part of the family. And that's why I'm doing it.
So then the legacy,
And they were born after John.
yeah, I was born in 82. Michael was born in 80. And Joan died in 73. So legacy continues with the butterfly garden. We have a new Child Safety Forever fountain there. So we're working
Oh,
there.
guess what? It has a light. They
You
just
got the light
they
in
just
last
did
time
it.
you saw
We have a light, and the water
Water
comes.
glows.
The water comes out more, and you will see that because we're going to have our fest.
Yeah.
The flyer is there, the Child Safety Fest on September 27th, and it's fun. We have entertainment. We have things for the kids. We have lots of trick-or-treat baskets. The entertainment this year is going to be really good. This is 10th anniversary.
There's the flyer there. And there's a picture from the Safety Fest. This was the 2017 Safety Fest. It's been 10 years of Safety Fests. And it's changed throughout the years. We did a standing up for child safety. Then we get to the site, and that's right here in Harriman. This is the site where her body was found. Maybe it's just been there, maybe it was just redone.
I met you there, Mavis.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the first time I ever met someone from Jones Joy there.
Yeah.
That was so nice.
Yeah, we had we just added this someone, a construction company donated some steps, and they cleared out the base so you could park, one car could park there, and made a nice area, and they could go down.
You could go there, you know. It's close. It's like not that far from here, you know.
And
It's like,
pretty with the
it's off
water.
Palisades Park. You take 14, exit 14, and then you make a left, you know, down at the ramp, and you go up 1.25 miles on Willow, was it? Willow
Grove Road.
Grove, yeah. And it's there on the left side.
And that's where you saw
And you know what people go there for now? Like people that have been abused.
Mm.
And they talk to nobody about it. They always told me about it. You know, there's some people do that. But they went there to get help. And then there was another one that had a surgery, and he went there. And then he made sure that his car had, what was it, 100,000 miles. He wanted it to have 100,000 miles at the site.
Yeah,
So it means, you know, it's getting to be like for them.
And that's where you saw the white butterfly, and that's the first time. And that's where Joan's symbol, the white butterfly, became a symbol of Joan.
Hope, love,
Yeah.
protection, justice,
Yeah.
you know, good stuff.
And now we have continue with that legacy with the Jones Joy Child Safety and Wellness Program. And that's just been, you just worked on that one, you got that launched.
On Joan's
birthday.
60th birthday was on the 7th. She was born 20 to 12 p.m., okay? 20 minutes before midnight. At that time, that night, the first two people, we developed this program. It's called the Jones Joy Child Safety Prevention and Wellness Program, okay? And this program went to 2 superintendents, and the program is for kindergarten level, junior high level, and high school. So it has 3, okay? I was guided to develop it. So, you know, it definitely guided. So this is what happened. The first 2 systems that it went to, that night, just started it, were in the Mississippi Delta area. My children are so poor. They don't know a lot of things. And I know because a filmmaker that filmed, and he will be coming to Safety Fest. He works with these poor children, trying to teach them some kind of career in filmmaking. So he was telling me about them. So it went to two different schools in that county, Mississippi Delta. They have it. They have it now. So what it is it's an email that's sent to them with a cover letter. You really have to get a snappy like subject. So guess what we put on the subject? You know, with the name, something about the name. We put a little butterfly. So there's going to be a little colorful butterfly in the subject area. That butterfly, they could have 100 emails. They'll look at that butterfly. Maybe 30 out of 100 will look at it. Okay? And just to use this program, it's short, it's easy to use, it's practices, statements, and the person that wrote it is a social worker and also a professional yoga instructor. So to tell you an idea of, like say for the little kids, like, you know, some kids don't even know, like, what parts of your body are your private parts. So just to make sure the child knows their private parts, it's all the parts that a bathing suit covers. You see? So there are those kind of things in there. It's not a lot of bunch of words, and then you get so bored with it. I mean, I was a teacher, and then you just let it go.
Yeah.
So you see something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like on the high school level, no, or the junior high school level, it says, like if a parent, and there's part for parents, and if you're saying to your child, right, you'll never amount to anything, right? You'll never amount to anything. That's verbal abuse. And if that's said on the little guy's level from kindergarten to 4, concrete thinkers, that's what they're going to believe they are. Okay? They're going to believe they are that way. So it says, go to a trusted adult. Go to someone, because that is not the way you're going to be treated. It says, just go away. Just go away. Or else, and you tell a trusted adult. And then you have all these different examples for, and I have I just made a copy of it. Did we bring it with us? Oh, we didn't bring it with us. But if you want to see it, if you have a school that you think, give us a school, we'll look up the superintendent, we'll look up the email, and we'll send it to them. Okay? So that's where you can help. That's where you can help the children. So not to be abused.
Yeah.
Then we go into section with it. Like, the kids were my teachers. All right? My son was my teacher.
Yeah.
I was my teacher. I was abused by my mother.
Yeah.
You'll see it, same things they say. And it's very confusing, right? Of course, you see them doing good things, and then this happening. But that is not acceptable.
Right.
You go to a trusted adult.
Yeah.
And sexual abuse,
Yeah.
now, because we help victims, and there's one victim I worked with since October, and she was a victim from 12 to 21. She was groomed by, and this is another part, another practice, like say for the junior high. If you have your peer group, and there's an older person, an older youth, that starts to weave in with your 12 and 13-year-old group, tell a trusted adult. Because that's what happened here. And then the person groomed her. And at 14, she had 2 abortions. Okay? Mother and father did not even know. All right? To this day, 34 years later, mother and father don't know. But yet, guess what? We got to the prosecutor's office, and now the prosecutor's office has this case. It's Jed Hykitt, Pykitt, is a pedophile that's out there, and he's a fugitive, and we're trying to get him because he's still doing it, and there are other people he did it to that are victims. So this is what we do. And you could do something too. You could do something. You could do, like I said, you could get, if you want, okay? Just you being here is very, very big. But, just see, maybe you could get a school. Maybe if you know of someone that has been abused, make sure that you go and listen to them. Listen to them. Don't be afraid that another person is going to not like you. Am I doing the work I did? And this was family. Everybody went away. They didn't want to be thinking of this. That was one part of it, right? They didn't want to be thinking of it. It was too hard for them, Or they didn't like I was bringing it out in the open. See? But this was like a lot. I hope that never happens to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes, we get our strength But I know one of the ways I got my strength was through my faith. Another way I got my strength was through, can I show Joan? Is through Joan. I mean, she, she's Joan, look. I mean, you're going to leave her in the cemetery and just be thinking of your own comfort and continue just with the way your life was, I mean, she brings good things. She makes you even be a better person. She makes you think of service more, She makes you, have more compassion for people, So it's not really, I'm going to tell you, there's more positive than negative with Joan's story. And there's going to continue to be more positive. So the positive, good, light has won. Bad didn't win. Okay? And she comes out in the white butterfly and she's telling you, come on, we're going to do it. We'll do it. No, it's all right. It's all right. You're going to be fine. Let's smile. Let's dance. So that's what I want to tell you. It's all, I hope you feel some of that. Mavis, you feel some of it, right, with Joan?
Oh,
You
absolutely.
feel. Denise, you write poems, for
Yeah.
Pete's sakes. And you always talk about Joan's favorite colors and make paintings of it. Green first and orange second. Today I don't wear green. I didn't wear green today.
Very good.
But see, you guys.
Just upcoming events, we have the Safety Fest. There's also the documentary. It was shown a lot last year, in '24, but there's still possibilities for public showings. But you have to go on. That's what the filmmaker is trying to get distribution, and we're hoping there'll be something by the end of the year. It's her baby, Vanessa Martinez. She was a young lady who grew up in Hillsdale. Now as an editor, she worked on the HBO. The last one she did was a Pee Wee Herman documentary as an editor. This was her first film, and we're hoping she gets distribution so everyone can see it. We saw it at several film festivals. We won best at the LA Docs Film Festival, and also New York Shorts.
Five awards it's gotten.
Yeah.
And
So
if you would like to see it, one way you could see it,
Yeah.
but it takes some work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to host it.
Yeah.
So get a group of people and
Your church or your community group.
yeah, and then you could host it, and then just go to, what, do you have the words for
It's
these?
like Daughter of Mine Film.
Do- Daughter, okay, I thought you had it.
No.
Daughterofminefilms.com, okay?
The link is on
And
the
then-
website too.
And then you could, find out how to do it. You could host it.
And then,
I bet if you get even 50 people,
yeah.
like for a school system or something, or your church, Paul, maybe your mother's
The younger
church,
community. So we
Yeah.
have, then.
In fact,
you
Paul
can-
was showing me something. His mother, and he goes to his mother. That was at your mother's church, the Episcopal church? Yeah.
I always light a candle for
Joan, and I never knew this, everybody. I never knew it. So you see how I stay strong? You see?
for,
You see? I have all this, I don't even know. But to know, yeah.
So she's doing some coaching
And
now.
thank you, all of you, thank you.
Coaching for some of the victims.
Oh, yeah.
You could get a card over there for your, you deal with people dealing with loss, but they general promise to.
I do coaching now, and there's cards there. And as far as the fee, it has to have a 7 in it.
Yeah.
Because that was
About that.
that was Joan's number.
Okay. So we have the books, we're sort of finishing up, I don't know, I guess we could ask, I don't know if we could take some questions. I think that we're supposed to, I guess it's supposed to be ending at 3.
But that's okay.
But they're not gonna
Nobody's
kick us out.
telling us.
They're not gonna kick us out.
No.
But we have the hardcover for 57 and the soft cover for 48. There's also an audio book on Audible for $20.
Amazon also.
And the ebook on Amazon is, I think,
And Amazon is the Audible book.
yeah, Audible, Amazon. And if you get it, we have this in soft and hard now for $57 and $48, and sign them.
And right now, we're in the process of trying to get Jones Law under 18, all minors in New York State. So now, 6 years we've been working on that with the sponsors. We'll start again in January. We've got to get this law in the 7th year, that number 7, we got to get it in. And this is the expansion. We have Jones Law in New York State for up to under 14. That means children. Now, we're going for under 18, all minors. And teens are the very, very vulnerable. This is all New York State, New York City, all over. So if you know of anything there you could help with, please get to me. If you know, if there's any way, anyone you know, you see what this is about. It's not about hate, it's not about revenge, but it's really going for justice, all right? To make sure we help the people that need to have justice and the innocent people to stay innocent. Yeah. And thank you for all your prayers. You know? Yeah. Sometimes it's hard. Yeah.
You want to take a question or two, or do you
Sure.
want? If there's a question or two. just
And Michael,
remain.
do you have you want to get involved? I know you're just working over there, and you're just, not getting the attention. You want to say?
I appreciate everybody coming and participating in our event, and we're happy to see that.
Is there anything else, Michael? You want to come here and talk?
No, I think
Yeah, talk loud, yeah, it's hard to hear.
I think you covered it great. So I'm not sure what I would add to all that.
What does it do to you that you see everyone here, like really, like almost like living the story?
Well, it had a big effect on many people, as we know. So, I hope that everybody is in a good place with it, and that good things came out of it, so that's good.
Okay, Mike.
Sorry, there's a lady in the back.
And you can ask Michael, John, or me,
Yeah,
because it always has to be me, because they're going through it too.
just want to say I just graduated high school in the Tappan, and the worst thing anybody, I went to MBOT. Before that was Richard Speck murdering the 8 nurses in Chicago. That was, none of those, my friends, were there, had ever heard or seen anything like this, even though that was Chicago. But it affected us and our family and my friends and everybody, and we all started out differently. But the question is, and I wonder also two things. Did the Girl Scouts change their policy as a result of this? Because I thought that they did, because I've been following the story about. And did that monster get paroled 14 years later? Was that successful?
No, I think that's to Michael.
Well, the first.
Wait, let's it's to Michael. Michael, want to talk about that?
No,
What?
I don't know.
The Girl Scouts.
Okay, whenever.
Well, first of all, he died in. When he went.
He died on June 5th, 2021. Okay, all right, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And the Girl Scouts did nothing. They sent a little card. Didn't tell me about the insurance that you get if a child dies, as a Girl Scout, you know, delivering the cookies. And it was a lawyer, somebody, an attorney, a year later, told me, you know, there's $2,500 you could get. So we got that because of the lawyer. The Girl Scouts they really weren't interested in making it known because they were afraid that they were going to, you know, it was going to have it lose something. It was going to cloud their image. And I do know that for a fact because one of the administrative people in the Midwest, she said, I made the decision. She says, please forgive me. Yeah. We were so concerned about the money, we didn't want them to know anything. We didn't want the people to know anything. She said, but still, it's pervasive today. So in order to get anything that we would get some respect for Joan, I mean, I really had to work at it. I had to go to the head person. It took about a year for them to get back. Then we made an appointment with the second person, the head person. That person was good. But then, and she wanted to make some changes, and then she wasn't there anymore after 6 months, so I don't know what happened. And then
the towns changed.
And then the town.
The local scouts changed their
But
policy.
John, just a minute, okay? What happened was the local people, like we have like a Bergen part and all, that lady would look at me with the coldest eyes.
Oh, yeah, that was.
She really, really didn't like what I was doing. And she was at the meeting too with the administrator, and John was there too. And so it was the same, like they didn't want to lose space. They wanted to still have everything the same. They wanted to be making the same amount of money. So then what I did when I got in touch with them, I said to them, you know, yes, the local school, the local people, some of the local troops, on their own, they started saying, no, they started changing rules. But that was not like a center thing. And then when I spoke to the administration, I told them about the 14-year-olds. In their rules, it was still 14-year-olds, oh yeah, it's fine for them to go. You know, oh, you could go, yeah, go to somebody's house, sell the cookies. You know, you could go, go with someone, like, the kid and all, and that's what they were doing. And then they did change that. So we don't have that. Yeah, it took 2 years.
Yeah, it took a while.
But it really, it really had to, you had to really be after them. So it's the same thing, like it's business,
Yeah,
it's
that's
money,
sort of, yeah,
it's
yeah.
money,
Yeah,
same thing.
that's their brand.
It's how we look,
Yeah.
it's how we look.
The lady here had a question?
Yeah, my question was, I know that Mike Waller was one of the co-sponsors of that proposed new legislation when he was a state assemblyman. And do you know who the sponsor of the bill is now? Because he's now a United States congressman.
Guess what, honey?
You did it better.
Guess what?
What?
I asked Mike Lawler, and he was right there, because he's on a federal level. So now, the Jones Law has been introduced on the federal level, so we have to go through the steps to try to get that under 18 for, on the federal level.
Well, that's wonderful, but who sponsored?
But Mike Lawler is good. Mike Lawler was always good.
Yes.
Now, the ones we have now, it started with, I think that was, right now we have Weber. Before that, we had Menden, like this very conservative Jewish.
Michael, I can't
Yeah.
remember his name, Elijah.
I can't, Elijah.
Elijah.
I would do his first name, right? Elijah.
Yeah.
And then we had Carlucci, so we're going. But-
been a long
but
time.
you know
They're
what?
gone, both of them
Yeah,
are
yeah,
gone.
so we have
Seven.
Weber,
Weber, did Weber?
Weber,
Sarah
okay.
Weber's been.
So now, I don't know if Weber is going to be still there in January when it
I
starts.
don't either.
But you know what? They're like, they have this and that and the other, and I call them, and then I'll call them another 2 weeks, and so forth. And it's been going on for a long time, 6 years. They're not, it's hard with them. I'm just gonna tell you, I have a hard time.
Yeah, this legislation.
But we can't stop. So maybe you could do that, see who sponsor it. And the sponsor right now is Weber, like in January, or even call now. You know all of you, like in New York State, to get that one, because that's under 18. So that's another way you could help.
Yeah. We had the
Paul, that's what you could do. Yeah.
lady in yellow in the back.
I was wondering, Rosemarie, if you guys speak to a book club.
I'm sorry, what?
Book club?
Yeah.
We hope to. We haven't.
We haven't yet,
Yeah,
no.
we hope to.
Not a
find
book club, no. Do you have
the
any
yellow
idea?
one that we can
Yeah,
get
that's what
at.
I'm saying, because I belong forward, so I was wondering if you would be open to that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that'd
I
be
would.
wonderful.
I would.
Used to be.
Yeah. We could do something, sometimes maybe on Zoom, or we could do it in person. We could do either.
Yes.
That would be good. Always, everybody,
That's great.
we have more than 10 people here today, 12 people. Yes, honey, what?
I'm just gonna quickly share how we met. Is that okay?
Of course, and
Oh.
Denise is the
Hi,
poet.
Denise. I grew up in Dumont, and so Joan was born a year before I was, so I was a second year Brownie, and so I lived 20 minutes away. And Rosemarie and I have talked about the fact that, back in '73, I always feel the need when I speak to people about Joan and Rosemarie and the family, about how it was a different time. Even my mom, I grew up on Fleetwood Road in Dumont. It was by Dumont High School in St. Mary's where I went to school. And it was a very kind of insulated, it was like we all knew each other, and most likely on the same day that this happened to Joan, I was delivering Girl Scout cookies as a second year Brownie to my neighbors unassisted. So I really, infuriated doesn't even begin to describe, and I don't want to get upset because when I first met Rosemarie 2 years ago at the first fest that I attended, because I moved to Westwood, I said hello to her, and I started crying because a rush of all this emotion just came back to me. And I felt kind of good because my last year in Dumont, I wish I still lived in my house in Dumont that I grew up in, but before I had to move, because my dad had passed a few years before, I got to write a letter to the parole board, and a heartfelt letter, because he was still unfortunately eligible. And I shared that with her. I felt good about the fact that I was still like in the home where it's like, Joan at the point in time before that happened, we were coexisting. Like, we had our suburban lives with our Catholic families and, half Italian, so we shared that heritage. And, I have been very moved by this whole experience. And then when I went to Rutgers Engineering, my freshman year, I met a boy who, you go around when you meet people in the dorm, and this was in Hillsdale, and I was like, oh, Hillsdale. And I thought, because I hadn't thought about it for a while, because this was in '83, right? So fast forward to after the meetup in the dorm, and I said, you grew up in Hillsdale? And he said, Joan. And I said, yes. And it brought back, and so that was in '83. So then I was like, well, what happened? Like, I didn't, it was before the laws and everything. So I got a chance, just happened in the local paper, and when I moved to Westwood, that my first fest that I attended 2 years ago was also coincidentally at the time of the book. So I went to the train station, not having really any clue what he was going to say to her, just like, so I get to the table. This is good timing. Thanks for that, John. I get to the table, And I said, hello, Mrs. Alessandra, my name is Denise, and I just started crying. And she took my hand, she had this stone that was found by, where Joan had
Yeah, that was.
laughed, and she put my hand on the stone. It was a thing and a half, so now we have this thing where if I'm visiting with her or we see her at an event or something, I'm just like, don't cry, just don't cry. You know, it was this kind of, you know, I think it was a moment where...
You remind me of something that is very, very special, because there are a lot of signs, okay? Signs, oh my God, that just give joy. On the day that the killer died, right, June 5th, 2021, something was going on up at the site where two volunteers from Jones Joy, two friends, Jones Joy, were there, and there was this point that was 10 feet away from where Joan's body was put. Her head was put first, and it was a slant, and this little point is coming out of a rock, it's coming out of the ground, and he decides to move it, and it's moving, couldn't put it down, struggling with it for 15 minutes. He was a strong man, he was an excavator person, a construction person. So here it is, it's coming out of the ground, and it's standing up. This rock, 3 inches thick, 3 inches thick. And it was about this size, 17 inches by 11. Yeah, but it was coming out, the point first. And it was in the shape of a heart.
It's hard to see in that picture exactly.
Okay, there it is.
Point out there.
All right, tell me about God. Saying, go, keep going, Joan, that's what she wants. And then, but the day it was found, right? I didn't know that Joan's killer had died.
So 2 days later.
We found out
That's a 2 days.
3 days later.
3 days later.
The prosecutor's office.
And
So
can't
someone
figure it out.
called, they said, oh, and they worked at the prosecutor's office, and they said, oh, I just wanted to tell you in case you didn't know. I said, no, I don't know.
Yeah, they told me.
The prosecutor's office told us 3 weeks later from the parole
Yeah,
board.
officially.
No, it wasn't the prosecutor's office, the parole board. We found out 3
Yeah.
weeks later. But the thing was, imagine this rock on that day. So there are a lot of these stories, I should write them down, that are very, 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 very much. I mean, it really makes you believe in God, if you don't believe in God. So that's there. Well, I mean, you know what we'll do? We'll bring that to the, I can have it at my table.
Yeah, we'll have it the safety
So
list.
if you come, you could see it, you could touch it.
Number
Yeah,
27.
honey, yeah.
I think we'll at the end of the question. Okay, well,
But I don't know everybody's name. Your name was
My name's Charlotte.
Charlotte Snow?
Swift.
Swift.
You were close.
I know it was and then your name was?
I'm Barbara.
Barb, okay. And your name?
Susan.
Susan, you told me before, okay, yeah. Okay, Susan. Susan, do you have a question?
Susan is.
No, because I want to do, but
Okay.
I just wondered if I had asked before, did the monster get parole?
Oh, yeah, to be clear on that, no, he died in prison. There was another parole
Okay.
eligibility in 2000. There was another parole eligibility in 2008, and he was in another movement, when you get to the whole other movement that began in 2008. So it was 93, that lasted into 2000.
Into 1998.
Yeah, and then anyway, there was a 93 denial, then a redo in 98, and then a 2008, and then that one's.
And you know what?
To get to the
If we didn't fight,
you gotta get along.
we got 100,000 signatures, 300 letters, and if we didn't fight, he would have been out. Because you know what was happening at the same time in New Hampshire? There was this person that was up after 20 years, right? Like, this was like 20 years. And he had gotten, the killer had gotten 14 years.
Yeah.
So,
After that, he's
I mean, after that, you're always eligible.
And look at Paul's murder.
Yes, yes, so he would have been out.
Yeah.
He was a serial killer.
Yeah.
That's what John Douglas said.
Oh, that's another
So you
big
see
part.
what we could
There's so
do?
many parts.
You see what we did? All together? And then praying, like Father Pio says. Pray, don't worry.
Yes. Praying for the God.
Right?
The man had a question,
Yes.
and the lady at the end.
That's Paul.
Paul.
I want to
Or you
thank
have
you.
a question, oh, sorry.
I want to thank you for your strength and not giving up. It's been- I mean, you're very nice, because your symbol has become a butterfly, that we should make sure that both sides here and in Harriman should be planted with native plants that sustain butterflies, so that when people go, there's a greater chance that they'll see a butterfly.
Yeah.
Paul, like
It's
where?
hard. It's
At
hard
the
to get
site?
growing
This
it.
side, you know,
Oh, they do, we have butterfly bush, we have salvia, you see white butterflies here all the time.
At the garden, we have
The
one.
gardener, we want butterfly weed, but the gardener says they get too messy. Unfortunately.
No, but we could have them at the site.
We could try them at the site, but this site is
So,
troublesome because of the.
You know,
box.
if you go to the site and you
Yeah,
know,
plant it
if you want to
or-
bring a plant, you know, put a plant down that you love, and then, but just always tell me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tell me your name, tell me that you did it, what day, what's the name of the plant, and you'll be a part of, you know.
But at the Harriman site,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
native
yeah.
plants that
yeah.
draw the butterflies. And
It's
it's
a-
more, you seem to concern that it's a living memorial.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just a place, you know.
Or then the sound of the water.
There's always the sound of the water that falls. Remember Mavis, it never stopped. It never stopped. That was there with Joan. And it'd go on forever.
That's an early picture of the first one. You didn't have green ribbons, so you got the ribbons from.
Do we have the green, everybody can take a green ribbon?
No, I don't have green ribbons.
Do we have green ribbons? Yes.
Is there one more question? Or I guess that
I
was,
just want quickly.
we could,
Or just real quick.
yeah.
Yeah, and also when I met Rosemarie 2 years ago, I said, you know, my niece Danielle was born on John's birthday on September 7th in 1984. And that she, my mom and my dad's name are Rose and Frank, so it seemed like a moment of destiny when we met, so it was just really honored to know her.
So, if you look at stuff there,
And
take
a
something.
cookie, and then Santa Claus will sign it.